A lot of men wouldn't even meet you on the road. Child, I've had an accident of my own to where my car was immovable, and I called a brother and he was like, oh, I gotta go to church. Hey guys, it's me, Robin Joy, here back with another video, and today we're going to be discussing the viral TikTok by Miss Reesa Teesa, Who the Did I Marry? So I didn't want to make this video to bash her in any shape, form, because no one's perfect, not even me. Hell, I've called off a whole wedding of my own, so I can't talk about anybody. But I did want to drop 5 of the biggest gems in her story that I can relate to, because honestly I feel like everyone is almost attacking this woman when she literally said at the beginning and during several parts of her series that she just wanted to give y'all her tale so it can be cautionary tale to you. So Teesa, if you ever watch this, girl, thank you for sharing your story. I pray that you do one day find the love the way that God intended for you to receive it. And I also pray that you have found some healing in sharing your story. I'm not here to bash anybody. I just want to say that one more time.
Also, guys, keep it cute and clean in my comments, okay? Everybody that's involved in this story, whether certain parts are true or not, are human beings. Don't get down here bashing certain people, saying this and that. Treat them as though they are somebody's sisters, brothers, daughters, son, etc., because you have family members as well that you'll go to bat for in these comments. She's had enough name calling, and honestly I could care less what y'all say about the lesion, but I mean, that's on y'all. This video isn't here to put anybody down, but just to uplift our people during this tumultuous time of dating, okay? All right now.
Okay, y'all, so let's get started. My first biggest takeaway from her story is to basically like know yourself and own it. And what I mean by this is not necessarily self-awareness. It goes beyond that. You should, before you even start dating anybody, know your vision for your life, your purpose, your core values, your standards, and basically your boundaries. Now, if you don't know the answers to these questions, I feel like you have no business dating, because these literally guide your vetting process. I just want y'all to just take in consideration one thing, because someone explained this to me in this way and it just blew my mind. So you know how when you apply for a job, you go on the site and they will basically tell you before you even apply at least the company's mission and vision and their values, right? Even if you get the job, once you actually apply for the job and you get the job, you also get this big old packet or big old presentation about the company's mission, their vision, their values, their purpose, and then you get their standards, and then you get all the rules and regulations to which you have to abide by. I want you to imagine yourself as if everyone that wants to have a relationship with you, whether it's romantic, friendship, even working relationship, you yourself are a business. And when people come to you, you should already, I'm not telling you to go type out a big packet to give people every time you meet somebody. That's just weird. But I definitely want you to like keep in mind that you should be a visual as well as actions that you take as your packet. They should be able to see your standards, and you should be able to voice your boundaries. Because when you show up to that job, they're gonna say, well, we gave you the purpose of this company. We gave you the rules and regulations, aka boundaries. We gave you our values, like you know what this company stands for. So if you felt like you couldn't keep up your end of the bargain, you should have just left, or you should have declined the job offer. And that should be the same for you. If you don't have all these things answered out, that's giving people permission to come in and run amok. Because you're unstructured. It's just whatever, whoever. So when other people come in your life, You can be just like that manager or that whoever that higher up is and say, well, you did this, you did that, that's not in accordance to my boundaries, my values, my beliefs. Although you probably be a good fit somewhere else, you're not a good fit here. Bye. And you should be looking to in that other person to see like if you guys even align. It's just the groundwork, okay? And in Reesa Teesa's story, she basically says how several things just were not aligning with who she was, from moving him in very early on but just not wanting to be alone. She said that went against her values. All she wanted, y'all, was a Kia Telluride, and all of a sudden she wanted a BMW, what, a X5 with the cognac seats. She wanted to move back to Cobb County, and the first house they even entertained was in a whole nother county. So those are the things that should definitely pick up flags in you to let you know, like, me and this person, we're just not aligned. And it's just as simple as that sometimes. Reesa Teesa said in her series that she basically didn't know after she was done with him who she even was. She couldn't remember who she was before him. And that's a really big reason why you have to know who you are first and foremost. Because if she knew who she was, and if we all be honest, we have been in some situations to where we weren't doing things that was aligning with ourselves, and whether we knew who we were or we didn't know who we were, it just didn't end well at all whatsoever. So you just always have to be assessing, like, does this align with me? Is this what's good for me? Is this going to serve me right now in this season in my life, or even further on? So the second biggest takeaway is to not over romanticize any situation and to take it at face value. I really want to read to you guys this quote from one of Usher Raymond's latest interviews that he just did, and I thought it was really interesting that he said this. He says, romance is the young man's game. It keeps you young forever. It makes you feel alive. Then he goes on to say, if you give that romance, she will flower you. She'll look more gorgeous and beautiful and feel amazing. And she will be the shining star in the representation of herself, but more than anything, a representation of how you make her feel. Now, if you were really listening, he just gave you the game. He just gave everybody the game. Women, we love romance. We want the butterflies. We want the flowers. We want the gestures. Like, we want all of that. And just like this man knows that, most other men know that. And honestly, men will take advantage of that. If we be honest, any man is capable of giving you romance. So that's why me, myself personally, during the first couple of months, I just make sure that I take it slow and make sure I even like you. Because I know I done looked up and been in relationships, and after the first argument or disagreement or, you know, just anything that kind of rubs me the wrong way, the love goggles come off and I'm looking at him, I'm just like, do you always get your hair cut like that? Is your skin just looks so dry? What is wrong? Literally. Just that quickly. So you always have to be making sure that you actually like the person, because even once you get married to an individual, which I know everybody for whatever reason isn't dating for marriage, but me, I'm dating for marriage. It's just not always going to be romance. It's not always going to be flowers and gestures and things like that. And you're left with that person. You have to be able to spend the rest of your life with this person. You have to really actually dig deep and get to know that person to their core, aside from all of that. And you guys, love bombing is real. It is a real thing. I actually was involved with a narcissist to where I got love bombed myself. So I do know what that feels. I know what that looks like. And I know what it takes to heal from that. And it's not fun. But narcissists aren't the only people that love bomb. Heck, you don't even have to love bomb anymore if we be honest. Let's take the story that we're talking about, Reesa Teesa's story, for example. She explains to us how they met on online dating, and then within 3 days they had their first date. But during the first 3 days, they were very talkative. He was actually inquiring a lot about her, trying to get to know her, which that impressed her because, let's be honest, most time men, they just are not that inquisitive. Then on the date, her tire blows out. He comes to rescue her, changes out the tire, buys her a tire, still takes her even to dinner, and then they spend this nice long night just sitting in the car after dinner talking about life and what they want. And then he plays this beautiful John Legend song called A Good Night, and in that song it says, I think I just might met my wife. And it's just all the butterflies and the good vibes. Now, if we be honest, that's not love bombing, you guys. It's not. There was nothing super extravagant about this story. In all actuality, why wouldn't he try to help her if he was interested in her? Now, I'm not saying as far as going to buy the tire. I get that. Buying that one tire, even though, but just depends on how you view that, I would say. And then a lot of men are not changing your tires these days into the spare. A lot of men wouldn't even meet you on the road. So I've had an accident of my own to where my car was immovable, and I called a brother and he was like, oh, I gotta go to church. Gotta go. Okay, good. Okay, God bless you. If you really think about everything that happened, we were supposed to be on a date. So what else were you going to be doing if I called and say, hey, we might have to reschedule, my tire just blew out? Like, if we really think about the series of events and what happened, it's just like, this is like not over exaggerated activity. And that's why I just wanted to bring it up, not necessarily to bash her or anything, because I get it, I understand, I know the quality of just people in general. I don't want to say men, I want to just say people in general these days. But we really got to bring back some standards. We have to stop over romanticizing and glorifying actions that are just that of a good human. Also in a man that is interested in you and pursuing you. Like, most of the things that happen, that's floor work. It's floor work, and it's ridiculous, and it's so sad that culture has come to this. Literally higher than standard his activity was labeled as. So that's why I'm saying, I understand, but we just gotta bring back the standard. We gotta bring back the bar, you guys. Is he a good person? Does he have vision? Is he carrying out a dream? Does he treat you well? Like, I'm talking about literally treat you well, aside from flowers and opening doors. Just make sure that you're getting to know that person at their core for who they are. Which leads me to my third gem. Never ignore the red flags and warning signs. Always pay attention. If something doesn't rub you the right way, if something just kind of perks your interest, like, that doesn't seem right. Obvious lies. Like, you should either independently investigate those things, because I know sometimes we kind of run across things and just in order to not spark any red flags of our own, we just kind of go investigate for ourselves. But you should never be afraid or in fear to ask questions or want further details or answers. I know during the series she basically just said that some things she would just turn a blind eye to or brush it off, but you shouldn't. Always investigate things. It's those things that you just like, that's probably whatever, or, oh, it's okay, that usually come back to bite you in the tail. And furthermore, why would you stick around for that, especially early on? Because she turned a blind eye to like a huge lie like within a month's time. She caught him in a huge lie, and that's just not acceptable. And this basically leads me into the fourth gem, because I really don't have much to say about red flags, because I mean, baby, you're not a circus entertainer, so don't entertain the flags, okay? The fourth gem is to basically know that you can always walk away from any situation, especially when you're dating. It's not as though you are married and you have this covenant before God. If you find that your partner has made like a total complete lie, told you a total complete lie, like, just go ahead and leave. And it broke my heart during this series early on when she said that she felt like she had to stay after the first incident with the lie about the house, because she was pregnant, and also because he was paying the bills at that time. She had become accustomed to that lifestyle, and she just didn't want to leave. Then as the relationship went further, she ended up getting in a financial predicament to where she purchased a new car, and once she purchased that new car, she was now just subject to being financially dependent on this man. We can't do that. We just cannot allow ourselves to be in any situation that we just need anybody. And it's easier said for me, I suppose, because I've never been in a situation where I needed a man financially, but I can relate to a point where I called off a whole engagement. I looked up one day and I was like, hell no to the no. And I refused to live a lie. I didn't want to be with him anymore, and I could not see myself spending the rest of my life with him. So I called it off. But it was a little embarrassing, because I had posted him, I had posted the ring on my social media. I'm saying all of that to say, don't ever think you have to save face, because early on she said it like I was pregnant and I just wanted to save face. And then later on she just stayed because she wanted to be married. She wanted the white picket fence, but she wanted a facade, because she was finding out very early on that she was just in fear of leaving this man. She just didn't want to be the one that was still unmarried and single. And you should never be so uncomfortable in being single and on your own to where you're willing to settle for a lie. Period. You should be willing to walk away. I'm not a financial guru, but I know a lot of people are glorifying this lifestyle of the man paying all of the bills. And don't get me wrong, child, if I ever find one that's gonna pay all my bills, honey, and I love him, okay, he gonna pay all the bills and I'm gonna sit my tail at home. But we have to also make sure that we are not glorifying this lifestyle to the point to where we'll just take anything, we'll settle for less. Definitely make sure that you are still, while you're dating, living within your means and don't become dependent. Because by the time she bought that car and she was really dependent on this man, she felt like it was too late. And then she ended up having to find a new job before she could even give him divorce papers. She had to make sure she had a job so she can afford her lifestyle. Had to find a new place. It was just a whole hot mess. A hot mess, and I hate that for her. But I just know that a lot of other people, particularly younger people, are seeing like what's out in social media, and the women that are saying, oh, he pays for this, he pays for that, and all you gotta do is XYZ. But these women, they not telling the whole truth. And then when you do tell the whole truth, you get bashed, you get called the big back behavior and all this other stuff. But just know that a lot of these girls out here, they are not telling the truth about their lifestyle. They are not telling the truth about what they have to do to get those bills paid. And don't get me wrong, because there is some brothers out here that's doing a lot of heavy lifting, and I'm proud of you, brother. I'm proud of you. But for the most part, a lot of these men, you be wanting to lift up and lift out after dealing with them. And I won't even bring up the big social public figures that are out right now with lawsuits and different things of that nature that, you know, I know she also said in her story that they did indeed have like physical and verbal altercations. She didn't go into details about it, but towards the end she went a little bit more into detail just to describe like her giving him the divorce papers. And just don't take that lightly. Just don't. Some things you just can't brush off, and that's definitely a major flag that you cannot brush off. And my last and final gem, biggest takeaway from her whole series, which honestly she was telling a lot of things that people need to know, but I'm just saying all of the things that I honestly from my story could identify with. And it's to always trust your gut. I'm a Christian, so I know that I identify my gut feelings with God, but I know most non-believers in other faiths, they label it as intuition. And I honestly feel like God just gave women a little extra touch of intuition, especially after that thing in the garden with Eve. You know, he probably was like, let me give you a little extra sprinkle, because yeah, I feel like you just always have to trust that feeling. And I cannot tell you how many times me myself have been in situations where I was just like, this just doesn't feel right, something's off about this, but I didn't have proof, so I just stuck around too long and wasted time, valuable time. Reesa Teesa in this 50-part series, she goes on to tell us, like, she keeps saying it, I knew something wasn't right, I knew this didn't feel right, I knew this wasn't good, I knew, but I didn't have proof. And let me tell you, you don't have to have proof. You do not have to have proof. I don't care if you look like the crazy one for leaving the party early just to say this, it just something that don't feel right, I'm about to go home. I don't care if the man treats you like Cinderella. If you just have a gut feeling and you know that it's not fear, you know that it's not like anxiety or anything else linked to it, because you definitely also need to assess and try to figure out, okay, is this me needing to leave? Is this something off, or is this something off with me? It is also a big detail. Most times it's God being like, yeah, it's time to roll out. I'll be like, okay, God, I got you, I hear you, and I leave. I don't wait around for proof, I don't wait around for explanations, I just go. And anytime, especially, she went on to say that she had to start recording audio diaries, because that's just how crazy she felt. If you feel that way to where you have to actually record your own thoughts, like you're having to literally write down events and things, like you Inspector Gadget, like, it's time to go. Something definitely is awry. It's better to say what if and leave a situation alone than to stick around and find out why. You don't have to know why. You don't have to find out why. Just let that thing go and call it fair, whatever. Don't have any FOMO about it. It just might be your sign to just leave. Okay, you guys, so I'm done. If you made it this far, you gotta drop 100 emoji down in the description box and tell me what you think, what your biggest takeaways were from this, because you're a real one and we need to have a conversation, okay? If you're new here, my name is The Robin Joy. I do fitness, beauty, wellness, and lifestyle content here on YouTube, as well as IG and TikTok. I have all of my information linked down in the description box below. Be sure to subscribe if you like this type of content, because I plan on doing more of this as well. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back and rocking with me and watching this video. You also be sure to give this a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this commentary, and comment down below. Like I said earlier, tell me what you think. I know this is a pretty viral topic. Everyone has such strong beliefs about her story, etc. And I just feel like we need to have a conversation because, like she said, she put her story out there, so it could be a cautionary tale. So let's talk. Okay guys, so again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll meet you down in the comments and see you next time. Bye.